Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Juice podcast with myself, Andy, and really happy to have a mate of mine on today. Someone that I've been speaking with for a number of years, but also been friends with for a number of years, and also have worked with before in the past. Alex Olley, who's the Chief Revenue Officer and founder of, or co-founder of Reachdesk. Welcome on,
Hello,
Alex.
mate. Well, isn't this a treat? I think the bit you missed out actually was also you were a customer of ours too.
Mm,
So we've done that everything
I've twice been a prospect, one time
twice.
customer.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
50% close rate in me, Alex.
yeah. I need to improve that. Oh, mate, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, sure. Look, like you've been with Reach now. How long? 5 years? 6 years?
Going into year seven. Yeah, I
Shit,
think. Well, I
man.
think I was saying before. So I've been the. So I've there were four founders, right? And my role was always revenue, right? So I was a CRO from day one, and I'm going into my 29th quarter as a CRO in a row. So I've
Whoa.
gone from like an idea to signing your first customers to then finding product market fit to getting your first 10 to like 100 customers, signing over 1,000 customers, getting like past 10 million. I've gone through like the entire journey and still going somehow.
There we go. It's back again. Jumps. This typically happens. Um. Okay. So look, tell me a bit about, like you said, 29 quarters, right? That's a huge amount of quarters. Is the feeling still the same for you at the end of those quarters? Like, oh Jesus Christ, it's the end of the quarter. Quick, all hands on deck. Let's make sure we're bringing as much over the line. Like, has that feeling changed at all? Have you gotten more mature with it? Still panic stations. Oh no, Jesus Christ. Yeah, like that's gonna slip. Don't let it fucking slip. Yeah.
Right, it never changes, honestly. And we do this. We have this ritual at Reachdesk, last day of the quarter. We have a thing called the boiler room, and everyone, all the sales team, is in the same room. And, it starts in the morning, and we have a bottle of tequila on the table. And every time you close a deal, you drink a shot of tequila. If you drink, not everyone does, but if you do, and it's this intense environment of like we put all the deals on the board, what we can close, and we chalk them off one by one. And there's always that anxiety. And the night before, I never sleep and you're trying to get red lines done. You're called like doing exec alignment emails. That hasn't changed in 6 years. It's always the same. It's always nervous pressure, but it's always a wonderful thing, particularly when you pull it off. Like Q1 this year, I think we had like 9 deals on the last day of the quarter, all of them worth quite a lot, and we closed every single one on the last day. And usually you get like four, five of them, and we got every single one. And I was like, it just makes it so worth it and the whole team
It's
rallies
always,
around it.
and
But no, it
that
never
that is
changes.
awesome. 9 deals over the line on the last day of the queue. That's fucking legendary. Like there's also like I've the problem that I have with that is though you finish a day like that and then the next quarter starts the very next day. And you're like, oh,
The next day you wake up and you go,
yeah,
okay, where are the
exactly,
next 50 deals
exactly.
coming from?
It's like
It's like,
yeah, it's
yeah,
it's always that it's like a high and you get over the line, you're like, I did it, and they're like, oh, now we go again. Now we go again. But yeah.
yeah. And I get the blues, honestly. I wake up the next day and I'm like, my wife's like, you must be buzzing. I'm like, well, it's like the adrenaline's gone all of a sudden. And that, again, yeah, it's the highs and lows. That's the game, though. And that's the game I've been playing for
Yeah,
15
it's
years
interesting.
now. So I'm
This
used to it.
exact subject came up by speaking with somebody the other night. Do you know Ohad Hecht? He was the CEO of Amarsis and now he's the CEO of Amplify. So about
Okay.
1,000 people company, a relatively large company based out of the States. And we were talking about like how he got on as a CEO of a 1,000 person tech company and how he dealt with tough situations and stuff. And he said, well, when he first started in business, when he first started in the tech space, he was running Emarsys' APAC office out of Hong Kong. And he said like the highs were so high and the lows were so low, and he was all over the place and like, yeah, let's go. And then, oh shit, we're after losing and we've churned a customer, whatever, took it all to heart. And a friend of his at the time was, when he was out in Hong Kong, was like a CEO of a major bank or something out there. So some high flyer, right? And he said to him, like, Ohad said to him, like, how are you remaining so cool all the time? You know, like, how are you managing to not deal with all this stuff that's probably going on in the background? And he's like, well, the trick is just to stay level the entire time. No highs, no lows,
Mm.
level. And if you can get that state, then you're never going to get that. Because I'm the same as you. Like, I'm like, all in. Oh, let's go, lads. We're gonna smash it. And then the next day I'm like, oh Jesus. You know, like you know, but it makes a fair point. He's like, that's the trick that I've had to learn as being a CEO of a large organization, relatively large, couple of thousand people, is to really not have don't let the highs be too high and don't let the lows go too low, and you just stay in the middle. Sounds sounds a bit shit as well.
It sounds
It sounds a
easy,
bit
but also
shit.
it's like, is that any fun? It
Yeah.
sounds a bit boring. I don't know if I want that. I genuinely don't think I want that. I want the highs. I want the ride. I don't mind the lows. But this is the bit, right? I think I used to be more level, and I had to learn to enjoy the highs more, and like celebrate those more, and like
Mm.
really embrace them when they were happening, live in the moment more. I think I kind of used to go, yeah, whatever, we've done really well, move on. What's next? And then now I realize, like, oh, you know what? Let's go out for that dinner with the team and celebrate. Let's like make sure they are really well recognized. And with the lows, to go, yeah, it is happening. What can we learn from it? It is really, really bad, but don't let it affect me personally. Like the thing I've learned is that people have to tell themselves you are not your job, right? And the lows will happen. You've got to learn from them, but don't take those personally. That's the bit where I think people erupt, or they completely, maybe the
Yeah.
opposite, they implode because they can't deal with that, and they're not looking after themselves. So the thing that I have to do is like celebrate the wins, learn from the failures, but make sure that I'm constantly there is a leveling, but like meditation, exercise, don't drink too much, eat
Yeah, man.
well. All
I'm
those
the
things are
same.
what bring the
Like
balance.
I have to exercise like 5 times a week, and the meditation thing, I've been trying a little bit, yeah, like here and there, but it helps. Running is a big thing, That's almost like a meditation for me. I know you're a big runner as well,
Mm.
but yeah, no, fully agree, mate. Tell me, like, what have some of you've mentioned learnings, right? Things that you've learned. What are some of the harder lessons you've had to learn since founding or being a co-founder of the company, and also being 29 quarters deep in a CRO position? Like, tell us about some of the hardest things.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think everything starts with your people, right? And I think one of the things I underestimated for so long is that top performers, they want the truth, right? And I think I spent too long sugarcoating things, telling people what they wanted to hear, thinking that would motivate them. And actually, I think I lost credibility with a lot of people. And they want the truth. They want the truth about the business, about what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, how they can improve. And they want you to be direct and to be honest about things. And I think for too long, just as a leader in general, less about revenue, I wasn't doing those things. And so now I'm very direct. As soon as I see something where I think someone can improve, I take them to one side and never do it in public. But I go, I've just seen this, right? This is so out of sync in terms of our expectations, but I'm telling you this because I care about you and I want you to succeed. So let's get on with this now. I'm documenting it. Let's not see it happen again. Like that direct approach is very against my personality, but people appreciate it. And that was something that I had to really hone. Um, I mean, there are so many lessons. We could go specifically around
I
people, or
think,
we could go
well,
around
just
like
on
the
that people
CRO role.
thing, I can definitely, I can confirm that you are that way. I like, just as well, background here for people who are listening. Alex and I worked together. We had an engagement as well where I was working with Reachdesk and working with Alex, and I was reporting into Alex. And anytime there was something, you were never afraid to raise it. With anybody, with myself, but also with people on the team as well. I was also working closely with the team.
Mm.
And one of the things I will say about you is that you always said, if somebody leaves the team for whatever reason, whether it's your, if it's the company's decision, they should never be surprised. And that's something that resonated a lot with me, and I could see you doing it as well at the time. Like, if somebody wasn't pulling their weight, you'd let them know they weren't pulling their weight, so that the ultimate decision never came that they had to leave the organization because of the company's decision. It was never a shock, right?
Oh yeah, but like many many years ago, and probably I can't think of specific examples that reached us, but when I had to let people go and they were surprised, I was always like, oh, they're just in defense mode and whatever. And I realized actually, no, hang on, this is my fault. If they are shocked, I haven't done a good enough job. And so I had to get really good. At one point, my team was about 180 people. So I was responsible for a lot of people just in the go-to-market team, loads of SDRs and AEs and marketers and account managers, whatever. And I think that transparency about where people stand and what they need to do to get better, and if they are on track or sorry, off track, how are you going to support them? I had to learn a lot of skills around how to put people in positions where they can succeed and to be honest with them about those things. And this isn't necessarily just about exiting people from the business. It's actually saying, well, I've got the right person, they're just in the wrong seat. So are there other places I can put you? And don't just surprise people like that. Say, here's the path we're going to put you on. This isn't the right path for you, but here is. And sometimes it was that they weren't supposed to be part of the business. And you know what? Everyone has thanked me afterwards. They said, thank you for being honest. Thank you for putting me on the right path.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I can only say testament to that. Like I've seen it in action. You're not just saying that. I've actually seen you do it. So yeah, fair play. Let's talk a little bit about Reachdesk and why you founded Reachdesk. So, and how the whole Reachdesk thing came about.
Yeah. It was my problem. So I joined a software company called Agilic. Everyone knew them in the Nordics, right? You go to Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway. You say Agilic and people are like, oh yeah, I know Agilic. I've used Agilic, blah, blah, blah. You come to London and they're like, who? Like, what do you do? And so I had this problem where I didn't really know what I was signing up for. And I assumed that we'd be able to build the same brand awareness and be able to cut through the noise as quickly. And I took on this job to like set up the London office, and everyone we were calling, every event we went to, they were like, I actually don't know what Agilic does or who they are. And I was like, oh, okay. And we would be cold calling and whatever, and it was harder to break through to people, and we were sending more emails. And what we ended up doing was I used to send my team on like shopping trips. So we would go and we would buy like personalized gifts. So I remember one example was one of the SDRs, he bought this like personalized handbook with like loads of gifts surrounding it with their name engraved on them and stuff for the CMO of Pretty Doll thing. And he'd been trying to get in touch with her for about a year. And he saw something on a LinkedIn, sent her this gift, and she called him up. And I was sitting next to him, and you could see him in shock. And afterwards, I was like, who was that call with? And I remember he booked this meeting with this person. She said, can you come up to Manchester like 2 days later? And he was like, it was a CMO of Pretty Doll thing. I was like, what? You've been she's like your key account you've been going after for like a year. What do you do? And he said, I sent her this gift. And she called me back saying, thank you, that's really thoughtful. We're doing an RFP. Like, come and pitch it for us. And I was like, oh, hang on a second. So we went mad on gifting and using that as part of our motion. But then the Nordics started doing it too, and we couldn't control it. It was so unscalable. And our SDRs were spending so much time packing boxes and going on company trips, to like shopping trips. And we didn't know who bid and
controlling budgets and everything, nightmare.
It was just a mess.
Yeah.
And yeah, budget control, what was the ROI on it? And so I started looking for like providers, and there were some sort of early emergers in the market, but no one was catering towards Europe or international. They weren't thinking about ROI. And so we were like, I got together with three guys I used to work with at Yieldify. So the other Alex, Milan, and his brother Jay. And we basically formed this company in like a bar in London. We're like, let's build this, let's go. And it just took shape naturally, man. And we just cracked on with it.
And it's seen exponential growth over the past 6 years as well, mate. So well done. That must be it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, look, we've signed over 1,000 customers, and in multiple countries around the world, and we've got an office in Lisbon and another one in New York, and it's been it's been a wild ride. If you told me all this was going to happen, I'm not sure I would have believed you. But it's been a wonderful ride, and
sure, man. I mean, it's a really cool business. I've been like the first time that I met you, I was working for Exponia. This is 2017, something like that. 2018, yeah, 2018.
2018.
And you came and pitched me in the London office. I was running marketing there. Exponia is now Bloomreach, or it was acquired by Bloomreach. But we were doing the same thing. We were a bit more coordinated than having SDRs going on shopping trips, but we were doing it from a marketing perspective. But we were like it. I cannot emphasize how good direct mail worked or how well it worked when we were going after key accounts in a market where nobody knew who we were. Like to really to emphasize the point you just made there, like or to justify or to also like to say yeah that works. Like we did the exact same thing. So we were going after, and it's funny enough, we were going after retail as well, right? And we did the Jenga set thing, which I think I've told you about before, right? Where we bought all the Jenga sets in the UK. Hasbro were like, "What the hell are you doing?" We were like, "Don't worry about it, you know." We bought all the Jenga sets in the UK and got these sleeves designed that we put over Jenga sets, which basically had messaging and stuff on them, and it was a takedown against like Salesforce, Adobe, and Oracle. Basically, just like a bit of a takedown campaign on their customers, being like, well, you know, they're all acquired and their data's a bit shaky, so make sure that their data tower doesn't fall or something. That was the messaging around it, right? Sends it all to major retailers across the UK,
Nice.
and actually managed to win a tier one retailer off the back of it. It started the conversation with a tier one retailer, and we ended up closing them then, right? And we were doing stuff like that, like we were doing seasonally. So we were doing like 4 times a year for every season. And like it worked so well, but it was so intensive, you know, trying to pull that off manually, you know. And that's when we first started talking about implementing Reachdesk there and so on. So yeah, and then we used Reachdesk and a lead feeder, and that was a really nice way of just getting the foot through the door, you know, just making sure that people like something a little bit different, right? And we were also able to put it in at certain points in the process as well. Like if you wanted to put it a bit later in the deal, you'd send something else, and we like it was pretty handy in the fact that we could just hand the keys over to the sales team, and marketing didn't really need to get too heavily involved in any of the fulfillment of it either, which was something that was really cool for us as well. So I love Reachdesk, man. I think like I'll happily stand on the hill and Reachdesk, but yeah. Yeah, man, no
Yeah,
worries.
you're doing a good job selling it for me.
Something that I'm seeing you guys talk about quite a bit as well, and we've spoken about it a few times. Allbound. So tell me, how's Allbound going? Is it working? Is it not working? How's it being accepted by the market? What's going on?
Oh, so, and this is where I have to give you credit because I remember you and I were talking about this concept of like how our methodology at Reachdesk for our own go-to-market is all around all-bound, right? And what that means is there's this relentless focus on revenue, right? We don't talk about MQLs or vanity metrics like web traffic or anything like that. We don't measure our marketing efforts on that. We look at pipeline as a KPI, a quality control metric to see the volume and the velocity, and the conversion of what's going to fill the sales pipeline, obviously. But we are relentlessly focused on revenue. Everything we do as a marketing team, as a partnerships team, as a sales team, is that how do we optimize for revenue? Right. So we're always doing the things that move towards that. And that sounds obvious, right? It sounds like, isn't everyone doing that? Well, the answer is no. Like, I reckon 95% of teams are just in their lane going, well, I need to generate leads. Right? I don't care what happens afterwards. Right? And sales are going, well, I do, and your leads are crap. So we're always going to fight. And then there's attribution, basically going, well, is that a sales lead? Or is it a marketing lead? Like, and we kind of fight over it because we've got like this last touch 90-day look back window. So it means credit's going there. And it's like, it's just a mess. And so teams get caught in this messy area of like trying to fight over credit and stay in their lane. It's very siloed. And my method is just, are we doing the things that's going to generate pipeline that closes at a high rate, the optimum value? And it's like account-based marketing on steroids, but with a relentless focus on revenue and growth revenue too. So that's kind of the all-bound system, as it were. And all teams work together. You've got partnerships, working with demand gen, working with sales, working with BDRs. It's like one unit, so that we can say, well, how are we going after the right accounts, and like using different methods to get into those accounts and then close them. When you and I started working together, we were like, well, what is Reachdesk then? And you and I were always talking about our all-bound methodology. And actually, I think you were on a flight somewhere and you came back to me and you were like, dude, what Reachdesk does is it engages with customers. So Reachdesk is all-bound engagement. And because what we were doing in our go-to-market motion landed perfectly with Reachdesk, because we sell to sales and marketing people. And it was this beautiful like harmony of like, well, this is our method, this is what we sell, let's put the two together. And something just happened. And so this all-bound engagement methodology was basically like tie gifting into these moments that matter in your buyer journey. So you're not actually adding a new channel, right, or a new tactic. You're just complementing what you're already doing and make it work even better. And to give you an example, you might see like drop off before a discovery call, like 25% of deals drop off there. We're not saying you're doing anything new by sending an email to someone saying calls in an hour. We're saying, here's a reminder for the call. And by the way, here's a gift to enjoy before you join the call. Guess what happens? Your show rate increases. And so it was like that all bound, like what are all the things we can do to optimize revenue? Put like direct mail and gifting into that. All bound engagement was born.
Right. So I remember the exact moment. I was sitting on a flight and I actually have a notebook. Hold on a sec. Look, I'll show you. Wait a sec. Yeah.
Get it. Get the notebook.
My shelf is a mess. I couldn't find it. I have I have a notebook. I actually have a notebook, and I wasn't sure if I was going to cover it in this meeting today. But I have a notebook that has a sticker on it that says "Reach Desk Messaging" on it because I sat in a flight, and I just remember sitting there being like, okay, need to get to the bottom of this because we had a couple of tough conversations up until this point as well, where I offered you a couple of things. You were like, this is just falling short. You were like,
I was like, no, yeah.
there was a bad one, exactly, and you were just like, this is not working. I was like, shit, I need to get this right. That's that. Like, I was like, it was fine. We were managing, but I was like, there's something's missing for me, and I remember just hashing out like 40 different options on a page, just pen and paper, and then I sent you a photo of it afterwards, and I was like, Alex, I think I have it, mate. All bound engagement platform. You were like, bingo, and that was back in when? Like, let's say over a year and a half ago or something?
So that was where 2024. It was middle of
Yeah, something
2023,
like
I
that,
think.
yeah. So
Must have
like,
been around that.
and that was the product of many, many, many sessions that we had together. You're looking for that screenshot, aren't you? I think I
I'm
I
looking for the
think it's in
photo.
I think it's in
Looking for
Slack.
it. It's,
I
it's
think
got
it's
to
in
be here
Slack.
somewhere.
If you look in Slack. Yeah.
Okay. All
But
right. I'll dig it out another time.
But yeah, it was one of those things, and it's really cool to see. Like when I'm looking through LinkedIn and I see you guys talking about all bound engagement, it gives me a little giggle every time I see it. That I'm like, I had something to do with that. Super nice. There we go. That's it. That's it. Exactly.
There
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. 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 So
There
yeah.
he
No,
is.
but no, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Uh, Tell me, like, what's next for Reach Desk? What's next for you, man? 29 quarters is quarter 30 is coming up. So other than that, what else are you up to?
Yeah. Um, it's funny. Like 2023. Look, transparently, we're one of those businesses that we really started going in 2019, right? We started to like we found product market fit. 2020 was like genuinely thought we were dead because COVID hit, and what do? We send stuff to people's offices. Right, so all offices closed, and we're like, well, we are obviously dead. And so what we did is we figured out a way to send stuff to people's homes, and all event budget had gone. So we were like, whoa, the demand is huge. So we skyrocketed, and we went from like 1 million to 12 million in a year. And it
Terrifying.
was like, okay, this is good. That was a lot of fun. And it was like, okay, let's get to 20. And it's like, okay. And then the market starts to shift and you go, well, right, okay, so there's not as much budget around. So we've got to be smart about this. So we really started to focus on who our ICP is and got that refined, started on this path to like more profitability rather than like high growth VC, traditional growth stage. And now we're at that stage now. It's like, okay, well, like burn is nothing. Like we're kind of at this point where we got, oh, we can control our own destiny. We want to get it to a very profitable business and then grow in a really healthy way. And look, we are looking into other avenues that complement what we do. We haven't figured out what those are at the moment, but it's a different type of growth. And I'm going to be honest with you, whilst 2023 was probably one of the hardest years, because typically if you're a MarTech company selling to marketers, where a lot of marketers are being let go and budgets are being cut, it forced us and certainly me to get a lot better. And I'm actually very, very, very. It sounds almost sick in some ways. I'm like, yeah, cheers for the beating. um, it just made us operate a lot better and like be more intentional. And I'm going to say this, but there was this article I read and I thought it was brilliant. And it's all about how VC money makes you dumb. That's what the article is called. VC money makes you dumb. I don't necessarily totally agree with that in all ways, by the way, because the VC side of things has been my entire career. But I do think companies get a lot of money and they do really dumb things. And they just spend it and they don't think about the output. And so I think what it forced us to do was to be very intentional with how every single dollar we're spending has to be helping the business get to that North Star of profitability and growing at the same time, going after the right customers. So it was ICP refinement, it was messaging refinement, it was like closer optics on execution from the outbound machine. Like, how are we getting a better cost per opportunity from our marketing spend? How are we making sure like every bit of the sales funnel is really, really tight? How are we onboarding our customers, making sure that they're activated in the right way? So we tighten the grip on everything. And we now just operate way better as a business.
That's a fair point. I'm not sure it makes you dumb. I agree with your sentiment there, like the VC money, but you don't need to think as much. And I think you're not using your head as much because you've got the luxury of having so much cash that you can basically do whatever you want. And when you don't have that much cash, or when you're bootstrapped, for example, like I work with one particular company that have been bootstrapped, and they've grown rapidly but steadily at the same time, I would say, since they've come about. They've been around for over 20 years now, right? And they only spend money where it makes sense. Like, there's never any like, oh, let's just go big and splash a load of cash in this, and if it doesn't work, sure, we gave it a whack, you know? If we did that, I'd be fired immediately. You know, if it doesn't work, that's the thing, you know? So you need to use the noggin a little bit and be like, let's really think if this is actually a good idea, if this is actually going to turn the needle or not. If you're like 60% certain that it's going to turn the needle, that's not enough for us to make the spend. You know? And if you have VC money, you can be 40% certain. And you'll say, sure, you know, it's plenty. Yeah,
sure. Just get the growth up. But yeah, man. As I said, the point is really simple. We operate way better than we ever have, and I wish we'd operated this well when the times were good, because I think we would have done even better.
Oh man, but great.
We didn't do too badly.
Hey, look, we're just after coming up on time, bud, and I just want to say a massive thank you for spending the time and taking a bit of time out of your day and coming and having a chat with me. Much appreciated, mate.
My pleasure, man. I could talk to you for hours, but
unfortunately,
sadly our time.
Where can people find you, Alex? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah, I'm starting to post more silly things on LinkedIn. I don't know why. It's really easy to take an Olympic photo and turn it into a sales meme. But I tend to write about like go-to-market stuff, improvements, trends in the industry.
We'll put that link in the bio as well in the description. And thanks a million, man. This has been another episode of the Pickle Juice. And Alex, speak again soon, mate. Take it easy.
Speak soon, mate. Bye.